question here is how HCL Software leveraging advanced technologies and strategic initiatives to address emerging risk in AI-driven application security, especially for enterprise clients.
Well, thank you for asking the question. I'm head of product WebScan. I'm based in United States, and I've been in application security for past 10 years and enterprise IT for past 25 years. And for me, this is the biggest transformation I've ever seen, and that's caused by AI. I think AI gives us a lot of threats, a lot of risks, but also gives us great opportunities. So for us, what the companies really need to do is look at their profile of their IT infrastructure, of the applications, examine that, and analyze of whether the tools, the even principles, the processes that secure their information, they secure the applications, are updated and relevant for the modern world, which is going to be totally revolutionized with AI or not. And I mean, that's what AppScan is about. That's what AppScan is leading the way. That's why I want to thank the whole panel of being present here to talk about this topic on behalf of HCL Software. But the biggest thing here is opportunities to re-examine the tools, to look at this new world. And there are a couple of things here which already been talked about. Open source is extremely prevalent. It will continue to be prevalent. This whole need for SBOMs started with open source. I'm sure you all know we have just had massive NPM attacks on the supply chain. I think you all heard about it. And unfortunately, those type of attacks will continue as open source usage continues to drive business agility in the applications. The second thing is digital sovereignty. We talk about that a little bit. And again, the age of AI is revolutionizing that, because if the data, the confidential data of your organizations leaks out and is being used to train AI models, well, AI models kind of break the connection between the source and the model itself and the output, right? So once the data is trained, that's it. Your confidential information is there, anybody can access it, and there is no way to close it. So overall, I think this revolutionary change of AI will drive a change in the way how we do security, the way how we do application security and general enterprise security, and it's also an opportunity for us to get better at it.
Thank you for that. And my next question is for Dr. A.K. Singh, which is how is NTPC leveraging artificial intelligence to enhance the security and resilience of critical infrastructure, and what governance mechanisms are key to achieve this at this scale?
Hello. Thank you very much for the question. NTPC actually is into, we are the largest power producer in the country. And I just listened to the opening remarks from HCL, where they mentioned the name of all the power transmitters and other public sector units like Indian Oil and all. But actually, we are also users of AI in a big way in power generation cycle. And right from the supply chain management, including the resource supply, that is our coal supply chain, and also into the instrumentation as well as the machine performance angle. So all these things are AI based insofar as that is concerned. And then apart from that, we are now implementing, that is in the evolving stage, the automation for the load fluctuation that we are facing day in and day out. NTPC, by the way, maybe not a lot of people would be aware of it, is also in the business of hydropower. And our hydropower projects, they are all on automatic operations of their safety gates as well as the operational gates for the powerhouse. So hydro generation is quite a lot into the automated mode. Whereas for the thermal power generation, coal-based power generation, we are now implementing it, and that is the evolving strategy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Singh. And Mr. Sahu, How is PowerGrid integrating AI-driven situational awareness and cybersecurity to proactively mitigate grid-level risk and maintain system trust in the face of new operational threats?
Thank you. Actually, we are spreading throughout the country. So our presence is throughout the country. So we have a SCADA system, we have a PMA system, we have different IoTs, we are getting the sensors there. So we are prone to cyber attack and other things. So we are also aware of those things. But it is a present need is there because we have a asset base is very huge. Is around our you say it's a transmission line almost 2 lakh circuit kilometers is there. Transformation capacity is almost 5 lakhs MV capacities. To managing those assets by in manual mode is very difficult. So for monitoring those assets and other conditions, like for transmission line, uh, now what we are using AI, we have trained our model different for different type of defect for different type of categories, and we are taking the simple photographs, and it will automatically tell whether defect is there or not, and if it is there, what the defect is there. So that one of the use case we have started in PowerGrid 3-4 years back. Now different other asset classes are there where some trending or it is there, and we are capturing those abnormality through AI trend model. Third application, what we are doing all these things, it is a outage management, because we have a continuous data is there throughout the year is there, and nowadays not a electrical parameter, but it is a environmental parameter is also impacted to this transmission or distribution business. So correlate all this parameter and it will predict which asset is going to lightly loaded, so we can go for the management for those. So these are the use cases, but what for it we are doing other things.
So when you say it's predicting or identifying the defects there, so what is the accuracy percentage?
It is a is other AI model. It is early. It is very less, but nowadays almost it 80%. It is it's capturing accuracy is there.
Wonderful. So would you say this is a good improvement when you started? Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sahu. And for Mr. Kumar, Mr. Rohit Kumar, how can policy enable, robust standards for transparency, accountability, and human oversight as application security becomes more AI-driven government systems now?
Yeah, thank you very much. So before starting, I would ask some questions from audience. If anyone would like to answer, how many apps in your phone right now? Minimum apps. Anyone want to answer? Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. So the whole aim of the policy formation of the government, either it is Indian government or some another government across the world, is to secure our data plus secure our citizens' right? So we are using multiple apps, as ma'am said, right?
Yeah.
And if you are in software company, right, HCL Software, like an HCL Software is a software company, TCS, and lots of another companies, right?
Yeah.
Including the government agencies. Several ministries are involved under the government of India, right? At least suppose we are taking, for instance, suppose 2-3 apps and websites for each ministries, right? For each initiative, right? So there are hundreds of apps for the government agencies, and for the corporate there are multiple apps running on the multiple data centers. For the government agency, we are having tier 3, tier 4 data centers either hosted on NIC for the critical applications, high secure applications, or some another application, it is hosted on tier 3, tier 4 data centers of AWS, GC, and some another mighty approved data centers. So, right, so we need to secure that data. If you are storing some citizens' information through your application, right? If you are storing in terms of banking or finance, if you are a banking provider, then you are storing citizen data, right? So the main aim of the government is to protect that data, right? Through various policies. There are various policies across the world. In India, there are very popular act, which is in everyone's panel discussion and in every conference, DPDP Act, right? Is still growing, right? There are another several phases going to be in the future, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and we are getting inputs from all stakeholders, either it is government ministry or some private or corporate agency. So it is kind of, you can say, public-private kind of things for the policy formation. Government agency cannot alone form the policy, right? We should some input from some another stakeholder as well. We recently launched a G20 policy paper on the digital transformation of B20, right? So we have also included AI ethics over there. So if you're talking about the security of the application, because we cannot live without AI. Because earlier we used to use the keypad phone, right?
Yeah.
Then a smartphone comes, right? Then another versions of flagship processors comes in the market, right? So our space processing speed is increases, application is increases, data is increases, and it is going to be hosted anywhere, either it is on-prem or cloud, right? And if you are storing your data on-prem and that is you connected via internet or any manner, if you are connected via internet, that there is a huge risk, right? And cloud is obviously on the huge risk. So the entire process is to secure that data, the citizen data, government data, and we have several steps regarding the same. Because if you're not securing the right of your citizens, then you are not doing anything, right?
Correct.
Because technology is going to evolve, it is going to change each day. Suppose you are a software company and have multiple workload hosted on several servers, right? And there are several critical applications, right? And you are using API, as ma'am told that we are using a payment gateway as an API. That is quite challenging because that becomes the third party. And that API is accessing your application data, right? So there should be certain kind of policy so that we should limit how much data and what data that API can access. Suppose some AI model can be trained false, and that can access the critical data that is not allowed to be accessed by the payment gateway or some another APIs, right? So we need to secure, we need to put some kind of policy so that, hey, you can access this much of data. In our organization as well, there should be an hierarchy. Suppose an HR team cannot access the entire company's data. They can access only HR related data. There should be an hierarchy. Some intern cannot access some critical data, right? But CXOs, CTOs can access critical data as well. And we should provide the logs over that when it is accessed, by whom it was accessed. So we should do each and everything. And for doing each and everything, there should lots of compliances we should go through, and it is a very critical process. So we need to secure each and every application in this modern age, because apps are talking to each other. Suppose we are using Zomato, then we are using Paytm as an UPI payment over there. So apps are talking to each other. And we are the agency who are going to guide the Zomato or Paytm that how much data you can access and what data you can store. Suppose I am using Zomato, so we will provide the guidance to Zomato and Paytm that how much data and what amount of data you can access from each other, right? And as a developer, as a software development agency, you should also provide certain kind of limits, because there are two types in AI, right? People used to say in various panel discussion, right, that AI is hallucinating, right? You must have heard about that. AI is hallucinating. So there are two answers, because if you are an expert, trained expert to the current AI models and current AI apps and features, then it is not hallucinating at all for you. But you are not a trained person, then it is going to hallucinate you, because AI may provides sometimes some false result, which is not going to be expected. So you should be some kind of intervention so that you can identify that this is a false result. So I have a good example. We have installed high security camera in G20 conference, which was held in India 2023 Bharat Mandapam. So suppose we are providing certain kind of person's data who is not supposed to be enter in the premises. And suppose there is a 0.011% of chance that that AI based system, AI based face detection system is going to provide an error that this person is an illegal person trying to onboard either that G20 premises or airport metro station. So, the main security agencies, the security guard should not take immediate action against him. System is flagging the error. There should be some manual intervention in critical application, right? So that some manual staff, some tech experts can visit there and check their ID and check their registries as well, that this is the correct result or false result. You cannot take an immediate action by that system. Suppose you are providing some healthcare data. Suppose you are providing the healthcare data for a research agency, and they are doing each and everything on your data, and they are storing, processing, providing the result, right? But if there is no any manual intervention, you build a policy, right? But if there is no any manual intervention, because healthcare is a critical application, finance, banking is a critical application, then AI system is useless and very harmful. So for the critical application, manual intervention system and multiple workloads, manual intervention and scanning of app. We have seen a good example of HP app scan, right? So it is a good feature we all should use, because we are using the multiple workload. So it's a continuous process. And if you're talking about adoption of AI, so we all, not only in India, USA, Europe, we all are under still development phase, because AI system is going to train by your input. Suppose I am building an application and I am providing the training to my AI system by my spam folder of email, right?
Yeah.
So that can be hallucinating and provide some very false result. So I should, interact with my training so that this is the spam kind of content and this is a genuine inbox verified kind of content. So there are several things we need to do and we are doing on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And yes, please.
Some 15, 20.
Yes, please.
To add to it. Just when you launched that app 360 right now, so there was a mention of a research team and a development team and then an operation team and a security team. My request to you would be to take some interface with the end user also. See, why I'm telling it, that India is probably not easy, it has run ahead of itself insofar as this app penetration is concerned. You just compare the data of our literacy vis-a-vis the penetration of apps. So you will find that many such people who have absolutely no idea what they are doing on the apps, but they're using it. And how dangerous it could be, why I asked for this mic is, while I was coming from my office to this place, I got a notification that my credit card bill was due and today is the last date. So I asked it to make the payment. And it asked me a couple of questions and I kept on saying, okay. And at the end, I came to know that it had asked me somewhere on the way that would you like to take a health insurance for something like 1,999 rupees. And I said okay to that also. And while making the payment for the credit card bill, it deducted that amount also. Now, I work for NTPC. a company, my employer, he takes care from the sore throat up to my airlifting last year when I had almost died in a cardiac arrest. So everything is covered there, but despite that, I ended up paying that. And what I wonder is that my father is 86 years old. He also uses a UPI. He also uses some banking apps just to check whether his pension has been credited at the right time. So my humble request to you and the developers would be to take some kind of a user interface also, so that we don't end up having a poor UX. So that user experience is also important. Thank you very much.
Well, first of all, we wish you all the health in the world, Dr. Singh. And what you mentioned, I think you're absolutely right, Mr. Kumar and Dr. Singh. Like the responsibility lies on all three of us when it comes to government, the software companies, and the end users to make sure that what we are doing on the applications. And with that, moving ahead to Dr. Prashant Attre, the question, how does NHPC ensures alignment between evolving AI security controls and regulatory demands of India's energy sector, and given the sensitive nature of critical infrastructure?
Yeah, thank you very much. Hello. Thank you very much. I come from a largest green company of the country. And as my colleague Mr. Singh has said, that lot of automation has taken place in the power plants. Okay. Now, I can talk about the applications we are using. You have got an early warning system being used by, developed by NHPC for all the power sector, hydro sector in fact. So we are using AI in the applications that I'm not talking about. First of all, you must understand that the energy sector is a critical infrastructure sector, and Government of India is already taking a lot of initiatives in this direction. We had people from certain, then NHPC itself is acting as CERT Hydro and guiding around 35 hydro public sector organizations in making the mission successful. So all the governance and the regulation that we are getting from the government guidelines, we are implementing it. And the first most important thing is that all the OT are to be segregated. So as per CA guidelines, we need to have an air gap. That means hard gap between OT systems and the internet facing IT systems. So for that part, we have already taken steps. And as far as the policies are concerned, whether it is cyber security policy, cyber crisis management plans, onboarding on cyber sasta kendra. So those all things, not only NHPC, we are also guiding the other hydro sectors. And as far as the IT infra is concerned, definitely we have taken care of security at all the layers, starting from perimeter, networking. We have perimeterized entire, whatever guidelines, in fact, we are getting from our CSERT Power or MITI. We have to implement those vulnerable IPs on the firewalls, next-gen firewalls we have. So there was a complex situation that every time we have got around 43 locations, how to implement that? Because we had connected our servers at the head office, so we perimeterized the entire endpoint. There are around 4,700 desktop computers we have, suppose. So they have been perimeterized. That means whatever policy get automatically updated, it is simultaneously implemented at the endpoint. So other part, important part is that we have deployed our EDR, and as an cyber security aware organization, we have implemented SIEM in the company, and all the logs, whatever we have, they are all integrated, and we keep on getting the vulnerabilities what we are facing and what corrective actions we have taken. So in the last 4-5 months, we have seen there is a tremendous reduction in the attack surface what we have by virtue of our measures we are taking. And they are all AI driven tools which are being deployed to safeguard our network and our premises. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. And that brings us to our next panelist here, Dharmendra Kumar. So how is energy efficiency and service safeguarding digital trust and data confidentiality as it rolls out AI-powered tools in building and industrial energy programs. Yeah, Mr. Kumar.
Thank you. You have all told that digital trust is the main key based on the data confidentiality. All knows that we cannot survive without the integration of the AI. Everybody has to integrate as per their requirement and how much they can expose their data with the latest AI tools. But integrating any AI must be in the control manner, and before integration or sending any data to the any third party AI tools, you must isolate or encapsulate the data, or you can say that we can remove the personal data before sending to the third party AI tools, and later on after processing the data we should aggregate again so that it could be generated, it could be consolidated in the positive way. So, before integrating any AI tools, we must analyze that how much and how they process data, how much, what are the controls they have while processing, so that it should not be leaked from their part. Suppose I am maintaining all the security and everything in my data centers, in my applications and all, but if it is being exposed from the third party tool, then in that case also I will be held responsible for that. And we all know that I think maybe within a week or two, DPDB Act will be published. So in that case, we can't say that no, it has not been leaked from my side. If I am integrated from the third party, then definitely credential of the third party has to be ensured by me only. So I think that is the key point for me and for our organizations, that definitely we are already a lot of AI tools are using in, let it be data center, let it be in the SOC and all. Even for our ERP based and consumer based data, we are utilizing that AI tools so that we can provide the meaningful data and we can enhance our productivity. So for me, before integrating any AI tool, we must analyze their methodologies to how they process, how they communicate data with our internal applications.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And Mr. MP Kulshreshtha, so you now have heard all of these people. What are your observations and what do you want to add, or what are your suggestions to all of us here?
Everyone. I am working in NITI Aayog as a HOD in NITI Aayog Informatics Division, basically from National Informatics Center. So looking after all government applications that had been implemented in the NITI Aayog, as well as when I was in the Ministry of Consumer Affairs and at that time, and state in Haryana also. So a lot of efforts are being made in the government to secure the application in traditional way, like yearly audit, security audit by certain implementing agencies, implementing SSLs and vulnerability assessment test and PT ticket generation, etc., and so on and so forth. And it has become mandatory that yearly security audit is required. And however, if any major change is there in traditional applications, then it also requires again a security audit. Now the thing is that when the AI has been evolved and there are the number of challenges has come about the security, and the security layer has to be strengthening more because the machines are now writing the codes. They are taking the decisions and they are involving in each and every sphere of the development life cycle of the AI applications. So it required to be much more secure, and for that the NIC and as well as the government MITI is also taking a lot of steps, because each and every endpoint in the ministry, departments and in government also have been equipped with EDR and UEM, endpoint detection response system, and UEM, unified endpoint management. And firewall have been strengthening, and zero trust agent and zero trust architecture has also been implemented, so that we directly cannot trust on the LLM output. Now the thing is that it requires a regulation, it requires a governance procedures, and at the edge the human intervention, human is or human angle is much more essential for that. Because merely framing the regulations, act or internal frameworks is not sufficient. For example, who owns the outcome of the LLM? This is the one of the question, whether it is right or wrong. So we have a zero trust architecture. We should even behavioral output or ethical output we have to observe and we have to analyze it. Then we can believe on the security features. So there are a lot of development is going on in the government as soon as the new threats are evolving. Government is taking more keen steps about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And our another panelist, Mr. Alok Shankar Pandey. So, what specific steps has DFCCIL taken to embed AI security, governance, and regulatory compliance across its freight management systems?
Thank you for the question. Before I answer your question, disclaimer: views expressed are strictly personal, do not in any way reflect upon the views of my organization that I serve today or I have served in the past. Now, when you ask me embedded AI in terms of regulations and security, there is nothing. Let's be frank and let's be blunt. Embedding is part of compliance. Use cases are abundance. Security and regulations are part of compliance. There is no compliance mandate as of now, especially with respect to, even I'll go one step further, I'm a critique at least in this context. Even on the security side, there is no compliance. We are running security in this country through means of advisories. Every CERT issues an advisory, NITI issues an advisory, MITI issues advisories. Advisories don't enforce security. It's like telling your son, wear a helmet when you drive. And he doesn't. What can you do? So advisories don't ensure security. Coming on the AI side, there are standards galore in the world. You are having, now you are talking of AI 40,000 standards.
You want to maybe change your mic? Yeah, we're losing you in between.
Yeah. So we have 42,001. That is the new kid on the block for quite some time for AIMS. How many of us sitting over here are 27,001 certified? We don't have baselines. We have not worked upon baselines, and it's good. I am happy the work is being done. People are taking initiative. Thoughts are being exchanged. But meaningful translation is very minimalistic. I am very proud to say that I am providing an AI-based solution to the Indian Railways that has been homegrown internally by DFCCIL. The IP is owned by DFCCIL. But if you want to rate me, confidence level 95% of the solution. But if you want to rate me on compliance, I don't know. I have trained on Indian data sets. The framework is mine. The model is mine. But compliance level, I do not know, very honest. And I'm now proliferating. And this is with respect to most use cases that are happening in India. Now there is a regulator's dilemma. You get into regulation, ex post and ex ante is the two ways of regulation. You get ex ante regulation, you curb innovation. So all this work that is happening today will stop. That is what is almost happening in EU now. They came up with the EU AI Act. They classified 4 parts. 1 and 2 are the low-hanging fruits and they are the only go zones. Level 3 and level 4 are no. Level 4 as it is was a no-go zone, and level 3 is so stringent that you will not get into it. Because at the end of the day, any product or solution needs to be monetized.
So,
and if at the bottom line of the whole thing is technology is a tool. It's a means to an end, not an end itself. While all of us in the business of technology may be very passionate about the work that we do, we need to remind ourselves constantly that it is a means to an end. That means keep changing. If my means happen with pen and paper at an X cost, I am willing to pay a differential delta to be a differential efficient, a differential compliant. But the cost of compliances, the cost of absorbing technology is something that is actually beginning to make businesses non-viable. NPCI started UPI at 0 cost. Now they're looking at charging at least 1 paisa. Where will this all money come from? We are very passionate, but to keep it going, you need to have a complete business plan, not just passion. That's the first part. I often talk about, at least for the government, procurement life cycles being longer than the technology life cycles. So by the time government identifies a product and buys, the technology is obsolete. So you're always behind the curve on technology life cycle. Now we have hit a stage where technology life cycle has become shorter than the regulatory life cycle. How agile can you be? I think it's high time that we take a pause, take a deep breath, analyze our end goals. And as we are talking technology, we are already hitting quantum. So what do you do with all this encryptions that you're talking of? So quantum ready, you want a quantum bill of material. How many bills of material are you going to prepare? So take a pause, look at your end goal, look at your own business goal, look at the enablers of the business goal. Whichever tool suits you, use it and take it as a risk-based approach. Ransomware was very talked about, word, and everywhere it was at least for the security circles, it was a darling. Ransomware attack ho jayega. The board started to understand because it was hitting the bottom line. Nobody was taking security seriously. The board started to understand because it was hitting the bottom line. What has happened since the last ransomware attack till today in our security posture in most of the organizations? It's something that people can do soul searching. And now the board has factored it in as an acceptable risk. Only the other day, I was on a panel where MNC has withheld 5% of the variable pay for not being as sensitive about cybersecurity matters. It is not about awareness. It is about creating that kitty to cater for that ransomware. If and when it happens, I have that money. The minute it becomes an acceptable risk, the entire course of discussion will change. So we need also to be guarded about not hyping cybersecurity, AI-related security to a level where it becomes untenable for people to at least address it in the contours or the boundary conditions of business. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with that, I think the second question to Mr. Mike Koset, and again, in your view, like what regulatory shifts are the most critical application security as AI becomes integral to business operations, and how can industry leaders help shape these frameworks?
Sorry, before you take, I'll just take one more. The question that Rahul put, please open your apps. Even if you have not installed a single app, a day zero device from a OEM has 100 plus embedded apps in your phone. 20, 30 is what you use. Compliance of which is beyond your control. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the question. First of all, I want to say I'm super impressed. I'm a global head of product management. I travel across the world. And by the way, on behalf of HCL Software, I want to thank all the esteemed panel here. That was really wonderful to see you. What I was super impressed about this conversation is how far India is ahead. And I said, I'm traveling the world, I can assure you. I was super impressed here. And this really comes down to multiple factors. It's about companies and governments are understanding there's a need for more security. It's security in this new area, new world of AI for us right now. And ability to secure applications, secure phones, secure data, of course, whether it's a customer data for commercial companies or whether it's citizens' data for government organizations. But also regulations are working hand in hand with the companies. I just see governments being so disconnected from what actually happens in the world in other places. And it's not the case here. So this is super impressive for me. I think ultimately government has a big role here. There will be S bombs, there will be C bombs, there will be AI bombs, there will be quantum computing bombs, and so on and so forth. Because what we need to do, we need to have regulations that those things are required. then we need to have a compliance to make sure that companies are on the same level field and they're not endangering their customers and citizens. And they'll be fined if they're not in compliance. Ultimately, it has to come to that. The data protection, of course, is a big part of that as well. But from a company's perspective, because of this emergence of technology, AI is not only the foe, AI is also the friend. Agentic AI will help you automate this process. Agentic AI will help you reduce the barrier of complexity. Because if I think about it, and I'll give you an example. My wife is an avid bird watcher. She looks at birds and she knows which bird is which. She takes pictures of them. I'm not. I don't know one bird from another. I don't know the difference between an eagle and a crow. Maybe I do, but you know the idea. So guess what? In this year, I can go to a bird, take a picture of a bird on my phone, circle it, say, AI, tell me what the bird it is. And AI will tell me the answer. And I sent to my wife, it's like, hey, look, I took a picture of this bird and it's so rare, so on and so forth. That's how AI changes the world for us right now. And talking about changing the world, I'm looking back at India example. If you look at maybe 25, 30 years ago, India was far behind in connectivity. Electricity issues, how many people had connected lines, landlines? And you know, in the US, pretty much everybody had a connected landline, right? What happened? There was technology revolution. So technology is super important here. That's why we're talking about technology. Technology enables transformation. And what technology, of course, emerged in the past 25 years are cell phones. Now you go to villages, and every villager, maybe even half literate, is going to have a phone, and they're going to have UPI on the phone, and they know how to use UPI. Yes? That's a revolution. That's a transformation. So I think the technology is going to drive transformation. There's going to be a next stage that we're going to emerge to. The companies are going to facilitate it. Technology companies are going to facilitate it. The governments are going to facilitate it with regulation and use of responsible AI, responsible technology usage. And at the end of it, I think there is an opportunity to go to the next level and advance.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kosit. And the next question for Dr. Singh again. What are the most significant regulatory or operational challenges at NTPC faces in implementing trusted application security, especially as digital transformation accelerates across the energy sector?
Right. See, it's not about NTPC alone. There are not too many regulations which are actually available. As Mr. Pandey was telling, did I get your name right? So even that DPDP Act, just now Purushottam was telling it that the DPDP Act also doesn't tell that if you do not comply, then
what happens?
Yes, then what happens or what is the penalty or something. So there are hardly any. Likewise, as Sir just now said that certain also gives only the guidelines. They gives advisories. So that doesn't serve. So that is one thing. And whereas the scammers or the attackers, they are now taking help of AI. They are bots who are cheating people. And just to remind you all, not too long back, there was a scam revealed about the railway ticket reservation, you know. 10 o'clock, they start that, what they call immediate booking, the Tatkal booking. And within 30 seconds, all the tickets are gone. Why? Because the bots are doing it. And by the time you enter your name and age and that CAPTCHA, the tickets are done all. So if they can take the help of these AI tools or bots, I have a very weird sounding idea. Why can't we train some of the AI tools to think in the devil's manner and then devise our security accordingly? So I am not at that level of expertise in this business, but there are people sitting around who can think of it. And I don't know whether this idea makes any sense, but I think we have to be one step ahead of these software going wrong. Why? Because my damn safety related things are on automation now. And you can understand the consequence of a dam safety regulation or that step to be taken if the software or the AI tool that misses it at the right time. So the people who face that consequence are the ones who otherwise do not have any stake in the business that the dam is giving me. So that is the level of vulnerability now. So I leave it for the panelists to maybe talk further about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. Sahu, what lessons has PowerGrid learned in building a governance framework for AI and digital automation that balances explainability, resilience, and regulatory oversight?
We also work out some risk assessment. Okay. So we started where we can use and what the risk is there. So generally we have a two network, the OT and IT is there. And our operation network is a probability is very less. We have different layer of communication is there. But any breach will be impact will be very, very high. As for IT network, probability is high, but impact is very less. So this philosophy we started using this technology. So what we are doing generally, one is the another thing for OT, all the persons should be, we are giving a role-based authorization. So certain people what he can do. So we started those things for suppose there is changing in protection system and something. So very restricted people, they are authorized to do all these things. So that is one type of mitigation is there. Another is which type of data we can go for capturing and going for the analytical tools. So we have certain IoT devices is there, and they are in IT network and something is there. So we started some encrypted data for those type of IoTs so that it cannot breach or something like this. And third one is most important is human being is also that is also one threat for this all these things is there. So this training, another thing, motivation, that is what. So these are some things like that.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Sahu. Mr. Kumar, with ministries focus on digital public infrastructure, and again, I'm going to ask this once again. It's been a lot. We've been talking about regulatories here. So, what's the regulatory updates and that are needed to address emerging risk around AI application and security and cross-border data governance?
Yeah, there are a few regulatory updates we need to discuss over here, right? So if we are talking about the cross-border data transformation, right? So we are far ahead. As sir said, how far India ahead right now. So we are far ahead. If you are talking about 4 years, 5 years, or 10 years back, so suppose there may be some web developers or web agencies might be there. So 10 years back, you must have seen that if you are going to take an hosting to host your website, that might be probably in Singapore or some another country. Might be. There might be very chance that that is going to be hosted in Singapore. So in upcoming few years, and currently we have achieved 95% of data localization. During the 2020 Indian presidency, I have personally putted the data localization policy in the policy paper. Various developed country, almost all developed country accepted it, but there are various undeveloped or underdeveloping countries, like various countries in African Union, they rejected. And there is something in policy formation that we should always go with each and everyone united, right? So at that time we dropped that data localization part, but currently right now India is having 95% efficient data localization, because we know we do have enough tier 3, tier 4, tier 2 and tier 1 data center, and all data center is not from MNCs. MNCs is contributing a lot in the data center, big 5 companies like AWS, GC. So they are having data center in Indian premises right now, every MNCs, big 5 company. But all our startups in data center and in IT sector, they are having a presence in India, and these tier 1, tier 2 and edge data center is providing quite relaxation for the government agency for the policy formation and regulatory updates, so that, because if you are moving your data from our country to some another country, there are certain critical application on which you cannot control the moving of the data. Suppose you are using some kind of international transaction payment gateways, right? So at that time you need to some kind of API connection with MasterCard and some another kind of thing. So the data will cross the boundary, some critical kind of application. But there are 95% of kind of application you can control, and Government of India and our startup and our industry ecosystem is quite well capable enough. And in upcoming 5 years, I am going to see as a 100% capable that we are going to our non-critical data center datas in our country's boundary. That's the critical update number 1. And thank you very much. Because our startups are doing a lot, sir. You cannot believe, sir, that you will find edge data center in a small district of UP and Bihar. You will quite surprised, sir. I have seen the presence, sir. So it is quite good for us. And if you are talking about, sir, again, how far? So we are far ahead. And how do we achieve, sir? Our telecom provider companies do a lot in that kind of providing that kind of architecture, because you are building a data center, storage is required, and the first thing is the high speed internet. And the 5G and optical fiber connectivity in our country did very well. So by providing all these kind of infrastructure, we are going to well compliant enough to protect our data if you are talking about cross-border data transfer. Thank you very much, sir.
Well, thank you so much, and that's one good news there as well. So we'll have 100% of data localization soon. Great, Dr. Attre, what role do human decision makers retain in the loop of vital security and operational choices as NHPC implements more automation and intelligent systems?
You are talking about the power sector or NHPC?
NHPC.
In fact, once you do the automation, there is no question of having any human intervention. The only human intervention what we can foresee is that we separate the OT, because business is mainly governed by the OT. And OT networks, we take very much care that there are no USB devices are there, nothing is active, and it is totally segregated. Now, segregated means up to the SCADA level, we need to have, thereafter SCADA historian, we need to maintain a air gap and hard gap between internet facing IT and this OT network. Then only it is safe. And to maintain that, suppose you want to have some real-time transmission of some information, so you put the data diodes and unit action firewalls. Okay. Now, IT part I just explained earlier. So, human intervention in IT part, what we can say, instead of human, we will put many layers of devices. Just as you deploy the no trust network, then you have a in perimeter security. Then once you even enter the system, for the privileged accounts, you have PAM. So those type of things, basically those layers, they can stop you instead of human. Because once you say that in automation, human, I don't find anything. It cannot be there. And one thing, Mr. A.K. Singh, Dr. A.K. Singh, we are also acting as devils. You must, I forgot. In fact, when we have deployed honeypot devices, at least in power sector, we know, we have deployed some honeypot devices to lure those criminals, and then we note their IPs and give them to certain, so that they are distributed everywhere. That is one thing that we are doing. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And that leads us to Mr. Dharmendra Kumar. So what are the regulatories or governance obstacles you face in scaling or secure AI-driven solutions for India's energy transition, and how are these being addressed?
in my opinion, government policies are not to stop or foundation or us to scale up and enhance our security, cybersecurity program. But already, I think my colleague has told that the policies and developments done by government, when it come into force and come into application, by the time it gets obsolete. So I think that should be fastened up. Already, I think he has mentioned that. But apart from that, government has done a lot of things for government department as well as for the general public too. Sir has already mentioned that in initiative of honeypot devices, honeypot like things. I think that is a beautiful product done by the MITI without any investment or cost of the organizations. But I think that honeypot, whatever we observe and the honeypot ministry department observes on that devices, that should be integrated with our security tools, let it be firewall and others. Because I think that most of the PSUs already have deployed the honeypot. But how many they are implementing that pointers in their security tools? They send the reports, but most of the organizations reads, but don't know how to implement how to block that checks on our security rules. So if we can integrate honeypots with our firewalls and other whatever security tools we have, then it will be the effective and useful for us. Apart from that, I think government has already done a lot of program on the capacity building and also, in my view, government is doing a lot of things for us. अगर गवर्नमेंट को गवर्नमेंट हमारे लिए रोड ब्लॉक होती तो डेफिनेटली डीपीडीपी एक्ट कब का आ गया होता और फोर्स कर देता कि नहीं फॉलो नहीं करना है आपको. But government is already involving us so that it should not be roadblocks for us and for the country and for all of the users.
Wonderful. Thank you. And that brings us to Mr. Kulshreshtha once again. And how does NITI Aayog plan to integrate zero trust architectures within its applications and workflows?
Thank you. In the government as well as in NITI Aayog, the blueprint we can decide that if any security we require, then it should be some initial stage like a security by design. So when we are developing any application, then it should be kept in mind what kind of vulnerabilities may be inculcated in the system, and initially it has to be explained. And transparency and explainability, one of the also point for the kind of blueprint. We must understand what kind of our model we have used and what is its outcome. Also, as I have implemented, as I have discussed, that zero trust principle means that we cannot trust on every outcome of LLM, and we have trust in mind that outcome of LLM AI can be manipulated. So this kind of phenomena should also keep in mind, and we should not blindly trust on any of the AI outcome, and such kind of should keep in mind. Also, cross-functional team is also required, that it is technology is not simply can address all such issues, and we should need it requires a legal, ethical, and some kind of framework that has to be implemented. What kind of behavioral from user point of view, from technographic point of view, and from government point of view also. And such kind of trusted systems are not secure; they are resilient, ethical, and accountable also. So after exceptional or some kind of attacks, surface attacks are there. So who will handle such kind of exceptional things? So it should also be addressed during that, and we are taking care, because in email system, the government and most organizations, we have already implemented Zscaler, that's a zero trust agent, so that the email can be much more secure in the government system. And critical organizations are using Zscaler, and gradually we are shifting from normal SMTP mailing system to Zscaler, ZTP systems. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And it's again Mr. Pandey who has made all my questions make less sense because of what he has, shared with all of us. My last question here for Mr. Pandey: could you please elaborate on balancing the rapid digital transformation with continuous staff reskilling for both cybersecurity and AI risk management, not the regulatories?
That's a very interesting question. And this is probably the third cycle which people don't match. The first was technology life cycle, second was procurement life cycle, third was regulatory. The fourth one, sorry, not the third one, the fourth one. By the time a technology comes on the horizon, and there are few people who are the early adopters or people who start experimenting with it, the skilled force does not come in at that time. The skilled force comes only when the hype cycle has gone down and stabilizing along the plateau. When people see prospect in that technology, then the skilled force comes in. And in a dynamic field like ICT or AI that we are talking of today and another quantum in the next 2 years, now there is a capacity building dilemma. Do I invest in today or do I try and invest in tomorrow? There is, as it is, a dearth of resources of people who are qualified in terms of cyber risks which are there. But what trend that I am seeing, or at least what we are doing, is what I am invested in, that has a particular life cycle. So let me build capacity around what I am invested in, both in terms of IT and OT. So this is what, to the short point with respect to capacity building is there. The few one or two generic observations, especially with respect to knowing fully well that I am between you and your dinner. I think we are being far too harsh. For one, government is an enabler, at least in the Indian context, and rightly identified by everyone. That is why the regulatory hold right now, if I might want to say, is not there. So there is no ex ante has never happened, ex post has also not come in. So that way it is providing ample space for innovations to happen. But I think we are being far too harsh on AI to be able to expect it to be ethical, unbiased. At the end of the day, AI is going to be trained on historical data sets, which is a reflection of the society, which has biases and issues of ethics. So I think we are utopia. When the expectation is wrong, the delivery is likely to not meet your expectation, and disappointment is likely to be higher. So maybe we temper our expectations, at least with respect to AI, especially in terms of ethics and unbiased. The railway problem that you told, that bots were booking the tickets, and since it has to do with my field, we'll be amazed that we did not find an AI-based solution. AI problem, and if those of you who are interested in the news would have read it yesterday, has been resolved through a non-AI solution where it said, okay, anyone wanting to book ticket between 10 o'clock and 10:30 has to do an Aadhaar-based authentication. So not always when AI is the attacker, defender is AI. Again, use case and technology matching is what is the issue that is there. My friend talked about the power of technology to transform. Technology has been a transformer since times immemorial, industrialization, if I start from there. But not all technology end up transforming. That is what we must remember most importantly. And classical example is the telecom example, where you have a generation every 10 years. So 1G adoption was good, 2G was significant, 3G was a skip generation because LTE and 4G came. LTE and 4G caused a huge transformation because there was a latent user demand. I have been a regulator with TRAI. So today you have 1.2 billion mobile subscribers, 800 of them broadband. So 800 million of them broadband. Most of them into data consumption of a different material. So it is how much technology has transformed life, or the enabler of content and incidental use of transformation has happened, is something that one needs to probably see. We're talking of IT/OT integration, a number of places where we're talking of data diodes being used. Mind you, data diodes are of both types. One which uses TCP and the other uses UDP. If you're using a TCP-based data diode, which 95% people are using today, you are dead because you're providing a return path on the ACK, so your OT is compromised. AI in OT, huge ask. AI in OT is a huge ask because you have exceptional dependence on the OEM. If the SCADA systems, the OEM would not let you patch them if they don't want. So you have exceptional dependence. AI in OT is, I think, a distant dream for almost everyone until the OEM decides. And then you're talking of the TTE, which is the explainability, trust, and the technology part of it is a black box. Localization. While the intent of the government was very right and it was the heart was at the right place when they mandated data localization in India, we probably lost out on the, at least at that point in time, and some remedial action should happen soon, on the ensuring sovereignty part of it. Had sovereignty been ensured, Naira energies would not have happened. So now look at your digital sovereignty in background of the fact that the device that I own is made in XYZ country, operated by ABC country. It is registered in India, good. The operating system is Android or iMac, your iOS, which is again not Indian. The network over it, which it travels, is the entire network infrastructure from Huawei's to the Cisco's to the Nokia's of the world, not Indian. Move to the hosting ecosystem. The hosting ecosystem, as I acknowledge, even 95%, but major players continue to be the GCPs, AWS, and the Azures of the world, non-Indian. The databases, the Oracles and the SAPs of the world, non-Indian. What sovereignty are we talking of? So we need to be, I fully encourage this issue. I, at my level at least, try and ensure that people are homegrown and the data resides in India. And I am looking at CNCs of each of these applications. Where are the command and control centers? I have suffered once, our background that I told you, we come from the armed forces. In 1999 Kargil operations, a friendly country denied us imageries of the adverse sites. It led to a constellation being coming up, Galileo, with cooperation of the European Union, and now you have your own NAVIC. You don't have that system again, So one needs to learn from your failures to ensure that you develop internal capabilities in India. Zero trust. I am amazed nobody is talking. Zscaler Zero Trust is being used with the NIC's Zoho application. It was breached. It was all over the world. Imagine a situation when people are saying, trust me and nobody else. I am the service provider, Zscaler. Trust me and nobody else. I am a zero trust service provider. And I get breached. What is my liability? Zero. And then when I talk of liabilities, I come to the thought of penalties. How much penalties? DPDP incidentally has been notified with held back for implementation for certain reasons. The penalty talks of 250 crores of penalty in terms of one breach. 90% of MSMEs will wind up. If I am imposed with a 250 crore penalty, I might as well shut shop and say, sue me. Then try and comply to it. Similarly, GDPR, which talks in terms of percentage of your revenue. If regulations are going to, they need to be punitive to some extent, but if they're going to come as barriers to innovations and business, the regulations need to be reviewed drastically. And lastly, honeypots. The entire business of threat modeling or threat hunting, and where you end up finding so many IOCs and proliferating them. These are IOCs. Firstly, those IOCs are one-time use. We end up choking our firewalls by populating those IOCs. Never to be reviewed and never to be purged. We don't have a life cycle of purging those IOCs. So, My problem with the whole ecosystem that is developing right now is there are so many small piecemeals of solutions, not looking at the business context in totality. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Everyone, let's have again a big round of applause for the wonderful panelists that we had. What wonderful discussion.